there are different ways to service some relationships. When you have come to understand that, okay, this person is just a friend, you know how to service the relationship. Because of the experiences you have had before, you mislabeled a relationship. And now you are indebted to each other. You have to do something to make it up to each other. To service some of the relationships, I would recommend Apostle Joseph's textbook, Mastering Relationships. You will learn a lot. He was talking about there are different ways to service some relationships, even though I didn't really read that part that much. But I believe that when you have come to understand that, okay, this person is just a friend, you know how to service the relationship, so that it doesn't get to the point where it's like you have overdone things and now you are indebted to each other. You have to do something to make it up to each other, right? So you know how to service the relationship. It also goes back to boundaries, right? You know you should do this, and when you know when you are doing too much, or you know when you are also under servicing the relationship because you have mislabeled it. Maybe the person is supposed to be in maybe it's a destiny relationship. It is not just a casual relationship, or it's a relationship for a particular season, but maybe because of the experiences you have had before or previous experiences, so you mislabeled a relationship and you saw the effects of it. So now a new relationship has come, and then like you are resisting the relationship, right?
I even noted it.
Yes, you find it difficult servicing it rightly because you have had painful experiences. And so I believe that knowing how to service certain relationships also saves us from mislabeling. So I want to talk about when you know that you have to let go of a particular relationship, some of the things that maybe you can add up. So I was reading this article about how to identify when you have mislabeled a relationship, or when a relationship has outlived its purpose, and so you have to let go. One is strife, and one is when the relationship has lost mutual respect. Okay, so for the strife, the biblical example I got was Paul and Barnabas. Said when they argued about John Mark, yes, and so because of that they had to separate. And then the man of God was explaining that he believes that at that time God didn't want them to be together. God wanted them to go separate ways. So the problem wasn't really John Mark, because later on Paul worked with him, even though it was because of him that the strife came. It just had to happen so that the separation will come, and then this person will be useful somewhere else, and Paul will also be useful. So because strife had set in, it would have kept on increasing, and it will get to a point where
they start what God wants with each of them.
You harbor bitterness. Like it will get to that point where it might even affect your willingness to do God's work, right? And so when strife has set in, that is one way you know that, okay, I've mislabeled this relationship, okay, or the season of this relationship is over, I have to move on. And then when it has lost mutual respect, like you notice that it gets to a point where you know that you have to let this person go. It's not that the person is a bad person, but you just know that you have to let this person go, because that's grace, or that's fuel that you said that God gives grace for. If it's supposed to be friendship, God will give the grace for friendship, right? When it is over, now you have to use your own strength to service the relationship. You have to use your own strength to maintain what is going on. And that is when all these things come up. That is when it gets to a point where now you don't see what God wanted you to see in that person. So you can speak to the person anyhow, or you can treat the person anyhow, because what God puts in that person for you to see, you don't see it anymore. But maybe because of an emotional connection, or because of the investment you have made in the person, you feel it's so difficult to let the person go. But you know that there are signs. You don't really respect that woman of God anymore, or that man of God. You don't honor him like you used to, right? And then sometimes it can be in ministry. It can be that you are just being rebellious. But I am beginning to think that sometimes it might be God telling you that, okay, this is not your place of planting, or you're not supposed to stay under this man of God. You have to leave. But then it has to happen respectfully, right? But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when, not that you are rebellious, but then you're not able to honor the person.
You can't be blessed by someone you don't honor.
Yes, you can't be blessed by, when it's, let's say, a relationship that is the person is your level, you are not able to respect the person no matter what. You don't see that relevance in the person anymore. It is a sign that it is time to let go. It's a sign that now the season of that relationship is over. You have to release the person. And so I've talked about strife and I've talked about mutual respect.
Okay, so I think Daddy too has mentioned that if you want to know a relationship, I think that is God's rule. It doesn't violate interdependency, it doesn't violate free will, it doesn't violate purity. Any relationship that violates purity, interdependency and free will, it's not God's rule. Because interdependency, as in, there are some people that, I need you. Everybody wants to feel needed, but there's a level of dependency that it is too much. And then nobody too is supposed to be on an island. You're not supposed to be independent. So we all need each other. It should be balanced. You are not supposed to overburden the person with all your needs, and at the same time it is okay to ask for help. It is prideful that you don't ask for help. So interdependency, we need each other to survive. And free will, you shouldn't manipulate anybody to stay with you. Don't use prophecy or God said this or that for somebody to continue staying in your life if the person doesn't want to stay in your life. So there are even some churches that the person knows that, like you are saying, I don't honor the man of God. I cannot be blessed if I keep on seeing him. And people are using threats that if you leave this church, a curse will follow you, all your angels will stay here, your angels will not follow you and all that. No matter, even if let's say the thing is God's will, once it's like the concept or the principle of free will is violated, it cannot really be a blessing. Do you get it? Because like we are saying that grace flows in the context of relationship, I also believe that grace also flows in the context of honor. You were able to receive the grace because you honor the person. But once you don't honor and all that, the person is just wasting his or her time still staying here. And that is and we have to balance it. It's not like whenever any issue comes about, then you give up on the issues. We are talking about irreconcilable conflicts or issues that are beginning to affect the work of God, that are beginning to affect your sound mind if you continue to stay in that environment. And on purity, for instance, so we have purity of heart and we have sexual purity and other things. So you realize that you are getting defiled, you are getting corrupted. Daddy made mention that somebody was in a workplace, in an organization, that they were making the person write false reports and other things. You are being corrupted, you are being defiled. So when we talk about purity, I know that when we are talking about romantic relationships, that is when we can boldly speak about sexual purity. But I want to also emphasize that the various relationships that we're speaking about, purity of the heart is so much important. That is why he asked us to guard our hearts. Yes, please.
Okay. So to add to how you know that a relationship has outlived its season of time or purpose in your life is when you no longer feel safe. You have lost yourself in that relationship. So I think the free will, I don't know if the free will is the same as the individuality.
They are all connected.
Yes. So now you cannot be yourself around that person. It looks like now the person has control over you.
You're working on eggshells.
Yes.
Always working
You
with
cannot
caution.
even, make a mistake. There is no room for you to make a mistake. You have lost yourself. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you will know that you have left yourself somewhere. Now you are living somebody's life. You have let down all your boundaries. You have let down your guard. And now the person is literally controlling your life. You know that such a relationship is not a destiny relationship. Because God himself, he doesn't force himself on us. He has given us a will.
So why should you force?
Why should you force, or why should you let someone have that much control over your life? So when you see that you have lost yourself, you don't even feel safe to ask certain questions.
It's true.
Yes, then you know that this relationship, you have mislabeled it. It is time for you to let the person go. And sometimes it is really difficult. I typed this question online and I asked that, why is it difficult letting go? He said sometimes we are immature. These are immaturity, right? Sometimes too, you have made so much investment. I'm not even talking about money. You know that you have really invested yourself in this relationship. And so it is so hard to let go, but you have to, because now you have lost yourself. It's like you are living someone else's life. And then the person's vision or the person's life has overshadowed yours, you know that it is time for it to go, because God made us unique and He wants all of us to stand out in our own ways. So when it's like you have come to the point where even who God has called you to be or what God has made you,
you are losing yourself.
You have lost it or you are losing it. Then you know that relationship, it has to go. And then you mentioned, I wrote it too. You mentioned that sometimes it's not every time that letting go is permanent, but we'll get there when we talk about letting go. Sometimes it's just for a season. Like for instance, you said that the enemy can bring issues between you because he knows that this is a divinely orchestrated relationship, that if he lets the relationship grow, it will cause chaos in the kingdom of darkness. So he will plant seeds of discord in the relationship, and then the relationship will break. So for such a relationship, God will have you leave the relationship momentarily, so that He will deal with you and He will deal with me, so that when we come back together, we'll be able to achieve. So it's not always that letting go is a permanent something. Sometimes you have to let go for a short while. Sometimes it is for good, because this person has the person has outlived his purpose in your life. It is time for the person to go. So
okay, you said many things. I think one thing that you were talking about the investment. I think this thing in our personal conversation, we've speaking about that. You know that from where this thing is going, if I keep on staying, it will cost my destiny. The longer you keep on staying, the more costly it becomes to keep it. There are certain relationships that holding on is so costly. It will cost you your purity, cost you your sound mind and other things. So I read something online. A person said that if you booked a flight, the flight ticket is so expensive, and then whilst you were boarding it, they announced that there is a fault with the flight. We used to say that because of the price of the ticket, I will still board this flight. So boarding it will be at the cost of your life. And sometimes it's not like you would die literally, but then you will lose your crown, you lose your pride, it will cost you your oil. It's not I was telling somebody that we talk about restoration and other thing, but we will talk about that is for another day. But there are certain things that it will cost you your mantle, your mandate, and all that.
To add to what she said, there are some things that you will lose because of certain people in your life. It is for good. God will restore. But I believe that, let's say if God was releasing something, I was using this analogy to explain something to someone. Let's say we are all on a path, okay? I know that God is able to restore, but we are all on a path. And then God said that at stage 5, this is the blessing He's releasing for everyone, not just you. This is the blessing He's releasing for everyone. You have missed it because you were not there at stage 5. Maybe at stage 5 something had happened, so you were still at stage 1, right? And then this one, it was a seasonal blessing. It's not like this is a blessing He's releasing for only you. It was a seasonal blessing. So when you weren't there to receive, so you have missed it. I'm not going to understand if God can restore that seasonal blessing that has come to pass. I know that God can restore, yes, but I was using that analogy to explain that sometimes there are some things that when your disobedience, okay, your disobedience is also sin, but I'm trying to say that, let's say it's not like you are
and compromise.
Yes. So it's not like you are really doing something wrong, but God has told you that let this person go, but you insist the person stays in your life and you lose something. I believe that even though maybe in future God will restore, but in that moment you will feel the pain of you disobeying God, or you feel that, yes, you feel it, and you will know that
it will cost you.
Yes, honestly. You will feel the weight of your disobedience. You will face the consequences, even though God will restore in a later time.
There are many pains that we go through that obedience could have avoided it.
Prompt obedience.
Yes, prompt obedience would have avoided it. So we are talking about God will restore. But then what about the pain? What about the things that you went? What about the time? God will have to take time and heal you, restore you before what you were supposed to actually, because you need to be whole before you can even carry out that assignment. So disobedience, honestly, it is so costly. It's so costly. We always talk about something getting his hair back, but what about his eyes? did he get his eyes back?
And then he didn't get it. And then look at how long it will take for him to grow his hair to that length that it was.
When you could have avoided it by just obeying. So, like I always say, nobody does God a favor by obeying. It's ultimately yourself a favor. And if you think that sometimes the cost of obedience seems so expensive and so inconveniencing, but trust me, disobedience is way more expensive. Way more expensive than the obedience.
Okay. So then now I want us to talk about discernment. Okay. We know what discernment is. When God is guiding you, or you have through your knowledge in Christ or through your knowledge in the word, you'll be able to decipher which is right, which is wrong, which is good, which is God. And discernment goes with maturity. There are some things that you grow to a point, you know that this is good, this is bad, or this is good, this is evil. And there are sometimes you know this is good, this is right. But then the most important one is this is good, but is this God?
Is it good?
So most of the relationships we are talking about, some of them, they are not bad relationships. Like I'm
saying, they are Christians, but it's not every Christian that God will plant for the person to get to that level of closeness to you.
Yes. So you being able to discern, okay, this relationship, is it really God? That is when you ask God certain questions, or sometimes you have to ask yourself, you have to analyze, is this really God? Am I really sure God is saying that this person is my partner? You know that there was a time where I think someone asked me, have you prayed about this person? And I said that I don't think I can pray about this person, because the answer I will get will come from my heart. My heart, I am too involved. So I prefer that I leave the decision to my father. He should pray, and I believe in the counsel he will give. I believe that God will, because God knows my heart. God knows that even if God is telling me something, it is in mind that everything that comes is coming from my heart. Obviously, I'm talking about a marriage or like relationship leading to marriage, and the person was like, have you prayed about this person? I can't pray about this person. I don't trust the answers I'll receive. No matter the number of times I get confirmations, I can't trust it, because it may be what I am looking for or what I am afraid God will say. And so if God says otherwise, I'll say it is from my heart, right? Maybe because of some of the things I have seen, I'll just say it is my mind or my heart that is telling me that this person is not good for you. And if I get a yes to, I'm too scared to believe that it is really God, right? And so I just left the decision to. And so yes, even in sometimes if you have not gone to the point where you can discern for yourself, it is okay for you to bring someone who is more mature than you. I think one time during our stewards meeting, Daddy asked the question that if you say someone is your father, can you trust him? And I think he said that, can you trust him when he makes a decision for you or something? Or he gave a scenario, and he said that you think that if your father says this and that, it's okay for him to do that, or can you trust? And he said yes, because he's your father. And I believe that God has given him that grace to be able to
make certain
decisions on your behalf. And that is why you have to know who you submit to as a father, or you know who you acknowledge as a father, because he's around you, he sees you. Obviously, he has seen you with this person. He has seen how you bond and all that. And so if you tell him that I don't think I can discern and know that this person is the right person for me, he knows, because he's around you, he will see. But if it is a father who is distant, how would he see? Yes. And sometimes to our fathers, they are wise. This person that you think you are so much in love with, probably he has also seen the person with another person. But you can't see because you are blinded. Right? And so yes, if you are not able to discern on your own, you have not grown to that maturity level, you can rely on your father, or you can rely on a sister or brother who is more mature than you. I think one man of God, he was saying that when he was about to marry, he told his brothers that they should pray, they should all pray. He got his confirmations, and they all brought confirmations too. So these are some of the ways in which we can identify, is this person supposed to stay, is this person supposed to go.
When you were speaking about fathers being around and all that, and you were talking about that is why somebody who is not distant can be your father. For instance, sometimes we reach out to people online, people that we admire them, people that instructors yes, they are a blessing.
Yeah.
But instructors cannot give you counsel regarding certain destiny decisions.
Yeah.
For instance, marriage, or let's say an issue concerning a peculiar thing, because people will give you counsel based on the story you are selling out there.
Yes.
Do you get it?
Yes.
It is based on what you have told me. That is on it that I can give you counsel. So the counsel may be loop-sided, may not be wholesome. It will suit what you have come to present. But the Father that is with you, that has seen you in various seasons and has seen you go up and back and forth with the person, he will not counsel you based on what you come to tell him alone, but then he has seen you, he has observed you, so he can give you a counsel you can trust. So I just wanted to emphasize that it is good to have a father who is present, not a distant father, someone you admire online. That person can never be your spiritual father.
Thank you very much, man of God. So I also want to talk about how we grow in discernment, because we have talked about when you are not able to discern for yourself, or when you have not grown. So now it gets to a point where you have to mature to that point where when you be able to know that this person is not from God, or this person was from God, or is from God, but he has to leave, or I have to leave. Sometimes you have to leave the person and you go. Yes, there are times where you have to sack the person from your life, but there are times where you leave the person where he is and walk away. There are times where you have to push people away, but there are also times where you have to walk away.
But the pushing away, like, you have to be cautious how we push the away.
Yes. I think we'll talk about that. Yes. So that was just also by the way that sometimes you have to walk away. Sometimes you have to stay. So talking about growing in discernment, I believe that it is when we have already talked about maturity being linked to discernment. So it is when you are growing in the Lord, that is when you'll be able to discern the voice of God, to know that God is telling you that it is time for this person to go. I believe that sometimes I think about it. If Abraham, we know that Abraham really obeyed God promptly, and the scripture says that early in the morning he woke up to go in. But what the point where God was telling him to stop, was he mature enough? Let's say if it were to be me, would I have been mature enough to follow what God is saying in the now? Because God had said that sacrifice him. So there are some people that God has given that instruction. The person came into his life. Once God said he has come, now it is not for the person. He doesn't want to listen.
What God said versus what God is saying right now.
Yes. So when you grow in Christ, when you grow in his word, that is when you'll be able to understand that this word was maybe for 5 years ago. Yes, it was for 5 years ago. But what is God saying about this person now? What does God think about this person now? What is God saying? What are the signs that okay, this person has to leave? So your growth in the word of God, or in the knowledge of Christ, now that is what is going to help you. And then sometimes to prayer, because when you have come to God in prayer, you ask him, because it is in prayer that you'll be able to ask him some of these questions. What is the purpose of this person in my life? So I think that basically your growth in discernment will be dependent on your word life and your prayer life. Yes. So when you are able to build yourself in prayer, able to give yourself to the word, you grow in knowledge, in the knowledge of the word. Now you'll be able to decipher when it is God speaking, or when it is situation. Sometimes the situation can make it look like this person has to stay. Situational voices. You'll be hearing voices that the situation is speaking to you, making it look like this person has to stay. Sometimes it is pressure from the people around you. So you being able to decipher, okay, this is a situational voice, or this is pressure from friends, pressure from will save you from a lot of things. So now after talking about discernment, I wanted to talk about letting go.
Something small I want to say about discernment. I think I have a write-up on it, that discernment is not without obedience. Just like we say that faith without works is dead, and then love also goes with labor. You can't say you love me with your lips. The Bible says that nobody can say I love you without the deed showing forth. And then also we have the hope of patience. Yes, please. So there are certain things that they go hand in hand, like faith without works is dead, like I've already said. So you can't say that I have discerned. After you discern it, what was the action that you took? You took. So discernment is not without obedience. Or discernment is dead without obedience. After you have discerned, act on it. It's not enough to discern. Act on what God prompted you to do.
Because then what's the point of
discerning? Just like what's the point of having faith if it's without works?
What's the point of discerning? So I think that now when we have been able to discern, now we understand the purpose of the relationship. We understand the depth of the relationship. We understand the season of the relationship. Now we know when we have mislabeled the relationship. The next stage is letting go. And sometimes it is so difficult to let go. So I think that usually there's this statement that let's go and let God. So I was really thinking about it. Okay. And I've seen a picture of this young girl that had a small teddy bear behind. And Jesus had a bigger teddy bear. And he said, like, she's telling the little girl to let go. And that picture came to mind. But so it means that at this time, as soon as she lets go, God will give. But what came into mind was different. Sometimes God can be telling you to let go of what is there. And you will let go and he will not give anything there and then. He would have you
be with me.
Yes, just alone, without anything. So that small gift that he took away, he will not give you a bigger one because you are not ready to receive that bigger one. He will have to work on you. So it is not always the case that God is saying I should let go. So as soon as you let go, he will bring. There are seasons when you let go and you will cry. There are seasons where you will let go and you will regret. You will battle with guilt.
Because you feel like sometimes, like you said, the way we have pictured obedience, like it's not always that we obey that the reward comes instantly, like you are saying. So for instance, personally, God has asked me to let go of certain things that I felt like now because I'm letting go, I know that very soon my reward is coming.